In Outcome Memories, Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, serves as the game's pseudo-survivalist, and some may play him this way. However, his toolset allows him to get away with a lot more than just hiding in the map and waiting for the exit to appear. Let's start by outlining our master plan.
I've been working on a master plan, but now it's time to put it to work!
This video mainly serves to help you create your own master plan. If you do not have a good team and you don't have a master plan, you will die. Eggman relies on outsmarting the killer.
You are so easily tricked.
Running away and jumping in a timely manner won't do for a character so slow. So let's begin by going over his abilities for the uninitiated. Eggman has 2 abilities and 2 passives. He has a jetpack speed boost, which can lose the killer in a chase, granted they don't use abilities to catch up. Secondly is the energy shield, which shouldn't be used a lot, especially the idea of popping your shield is a lot more useful than using it first chance you get. If the killer is unexperienced, you can use it freely. The 2 passives include a double jump with a 10-second cooldown. This is the most important ability while being chased. You can use this to pull off a lot of what I am calling brain destroyers.
And then he's like, I don't know what the f happening, so you throw him
Brain destroyer.
On the killer, leaving them at a severe disadvantage. Finally is the repair passive, allowing you to heal Metal Sonic at a largely increased rate than Metal on his own or with Tails. All of this is information that you could just see on the wiki, so I'd prefer to begin looking at the different maps and how you can utilize Eggman's brain destroyers on them. You may have noted that all of my skips and the one brain destroyer are all located on one side of the map. Do not go to that other side of the map. There are no good jetpack routes, and you will take damage if you're being chased. Quick general rule for any map: if there's a spring that then leads to another area that wouldn't be accessible via jump, you could trick the killer by jumping off the spring, forcing them to jump on it, and then using your double jump to access said area, which would buy you a little bit of time. A fun thing about this brain destroyer is that after you use it, you could run up and then look down at the staircase that the killer would normally have to take to get to you. Using this information, you can make a good guess when to jump. This brain destroyer works because it confuses the killer about which direction you're actually going to go. Starting on the right and then moving into the little hole onto the left makes the killer go on the right, but then forcing them to waste time on a spring. This is also the hardest brain destroyer to pull off. Overall, X's Castle leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to skips and brain destroyers. For me, I have seen other people's techniques as Eggman on this map, but I've not memorized them myself. If you have your own techniques, you should 100% use them or tell others, because right now, this is all personal to us. This is one of the only times in which you should stop and look at what the killer is doing. If they're coming at you to the left, then you should jump down to the bottom section. However, if they're jumping down to the bottom section, anticipating you to jump down, then you should just run away. This brain destroyer can be a little tricky to pull off. As you can see during the demonstration, I took damage on previous attempts. If you feel that you can't make it, then you should use your jetpack, because either way, you're going to be making up a lot of time. I'm debating calling this a brain destroyer or not, because it's such a simple double jump. However, it gives you so much time to run away against the killer. Well, this is just broken. It's just broken. If you jet back up here, the killer has no means of getting up to you without using an ability. Literally, And because you're Eggman, you could sit up here, and the killer might be on like cooldown, and you could recharge your jetpack boost, which means you could then go to a different hypothetical brain destroyer, and you'll set them up just like that. It is so overpowered. This bridge is also a pretty good spot because the EXE can't reach you here. This map is just so good for Eggman. Alright, what did we learn? Well, if you don't have a master plan for kind and fair, at least by the end of this video, then there is nothing I could possibly say to make you good at Eggman. This is the first brain destroyer I discovered. It works not exactly because it is the best movement-wise, but it relies on the unfamiliarity that the killer has over this map. Because theoretically, they could just walk through the door that's right next to it and chase you down. However, if they're unfamiliar with the layout, they might think that it leads to an entirely different area, when really you're just running down that bridge. And also remember, if you're going to use your jetpack here, take all rights, or else you'll run into a dead end. Now, this area is extremely good for Eggman. I'm not too sure if I'd refer to these as brain destroyers. However, they are very good at outmaneuvering the killer, so I'll show you both of them. There it is. That's every skip and brain destroyer that I personally use in Outcome Memories as of now. Now, we're going to be going over Eggman's role within the team and how he can function more than just as a survivalist. Now, if you were using Eggman selfishly and playing as a survivalist, please tell me at least you were reviving people. If the person who is downed is in your area that you're camping out, feel free to just go down and revive them. You have two abilities that are explicitly used for survival. Metal Sonic is one of a good killer's first targets. Priority typically looks something like this. Feel free to pause, and also note that every killer will not follow this exactly. Once Cream and Metal go, they typically start going after stunners indiscriminately. If Metal Sonic proves to be capable, why not just follow him? He is rewarded for risky heals when next to Eggman anyway, and you can use your energy shield as cover for the healing process. When Metal Sonic dies, your team has failed you, and they are not worth your time besides revives.
Ah, dummies, 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 dummies!
But, as they say, it is better to show than tell. So, we are going to be watching 3 separate games in which I'm going to show you the different skips and brain destroyers that I use on a daily basis, and also how you can help your team as Eggman. Here we are on Green Hill. As you can see, I'm going to be staying on what I consider my loop territory for most of this map. I'm only going to be exiting this when Metal Sonic needs healing or when somebody needs to be revived.
Stand still.
I made my only mistake here. I should have instantly ran towards the brain destroyer after God's trickery expired. Instead, I fumbled and was punished. Even if the killer could catch up, the energy shield would ensure that I wouldn't suffer a hit, and the brain destroyer would have lost the killer.
Slowest thing alive, aren't you?
Well, thankfully, Amy's tarot cards ensure that I wouldn't be too punished for my mistake, allowing me to heal up a little bit. This killer is very obsessed with me. Perhaps they went through another good Eggman player, and they don't want to do that again. Thankfully, I have Metal Sonic with me, and it seems they attempted to hit Metal Sonic, but accidentally hit my shield instead. Nothing feels better than tricking the killer in more ways than one.
Slowest thing alive, aren't you?
Weren't outrunning me anyway.
My original plan here was to observe Metal Sonic and wait for him to leave so that I could find him and help him heal up. However, I seem to be very high on this killer's priority, and so I must make an exit.
Get a load of this is so boring. How about you failing instead?
I'm not sure if the killer actually was trying to go for me here. My theory is that they saw Amy and Knuckles and wanted to grab Knuckles to finish him off before Amy could stun him. However, that didn't seem to work out, and he grabbed Amy instead. This killer made two mistakes here. First of all, they tried using the chase during Rage while I had more than half of my HP. This was never going to end well in the first place. They also should have expected that I would have countered them, as I've done multiple times at this point. They were punished accordingly, and they were pushed below the bridge. They were never going to stand a chance against me. Some key takeaways from this match would be, don't be afraid to use your energy shield if you know your double jump will lose the killer. And not every killer will be so predictable, but if they are, use your superior intellect against them. This game started out really boring. The killer was emoting and being friendly, and all was well for the people who wanted to farm danger time next to them. I'm above that. Until a lone Amy broke something in them. Everything was still calm for me, despite me failing a God's Trickery QuickTime event. Games without Metal Sonic present tend to be a lot more boring in the beginning, if the killer even gets to chasing you at all. I wasn't sure if Knuckles' shield was going to expire here, so I moved in place with my energy shield, and it did do the job. However, as the G-Man said, I should have prepared for unforeseen consequences. You should definitely note that the killer has increased jump height while in rage mode. Well, what could I have done to prevent this tragedy? Well, first of all, I shouldn't have even tried interacting with that Brain Destroyer, because at the time, I did not know that the killer has increased jump height while in rage mode, and right next to the area is the Two Paths room, which I believe still would have worked despite the increased jump height. I'm not sure, I didn't try it. So, please just remember that. Well, here, I could have trusted Knuckles to do the revive, but he was at such low health, it just didn't seem like a good idea. The killer also decided to chase me down, which leads me to believe that they just have something against Eggman, specifically. Who knows?
Hey, second place.
Alright, all you wannabe geniuses. You want to see a master plan in action? Well, I'll show you. This might as well have been LMS because this is exactly how it would have went down otherwise. Yes, I know. It was beautiful. Let's look back and see all the tactics I employed here. I'll be honest, I didn't even really mean to do a fake out this good. Accidentally opening the door and then leaving, leading the EXE to think that I was running down the hallway when really I was nowhere in sight. Oh my god.
Keep up.
The killer really tried to catch me lacking here, but I recognized that they spawned in way too close to me and were thus punished with having to stand still. So I allowed myself to jetpack up, and then I waited to see what they would do next. They tried to jump up using the crates, and I speed boosted out of there.
What's wrong, Hedgehog?
I heard them using their charge, and I decided to run down this hallway that would have led me to a dead end. I tried to make this seem as appealing as possible to them. They took the bait, and I punished them for it. Well, by now, the killer's very fed up with me, and they rage quit, allowing me and Amy to escape. The key takeaways from this match would be, remember that some routes won't work as well during rage. Keep to the plan, even when at second life on low HP. And if you are the killer, don't waste 2 minutes emoting with survivors. In this last game, I want to show you that even though you might not even get chased for the entire game, you may still play a pivotal role to your team. In this match, I'm showing you my relationship with this match's Metal Sonic, and how I help him as my first line of defense. I note here that Metal Sonic had just used his charge and he is still being chased by the killer, so I come in and protect him with my shield.
Get a load of this is so boring. How about you failing instead?
I see that Metal Sonic had just used his charge, and it drained a lot of his HP, so I spend this time looking for him. I really hope that you do have stereo audio for this game, because there's a distinct sound that plays when Metal Sonic is healing himself. I use this to track him down and speed up the process. I continue to follow Metal after this because he hadn't healed to 150 yet, and even if I was to be chased here, there are so many different routes in this map I could take to lose the killer. Well played, Metal.
Boring. How about you failing instead? Too slow.
This Metal Sonic insists at being in a safe location to heal, even though I am right near him and could use my energy shield. Most of this game is just Metal Sonic charging into the killer and me healing him, but it is important that we do this as Eggman players. Metal Sonic is our first line of defense against the killer, and if he dies, then we're on our own. Right here, I'm predicting Metal's movement underneath the bridge here so that I could see where he's going and then later catch up to him so that he could heal. And who said this map was called Not Perfect? Even though the killer was clearly new to the game, I hope I did demonstrate how you should be treating your Metal Sonics in your own lobbies. Our key takeaways from this match would be to always know where Metal Sonic is so that you could heal him later on. Trust Metal Sonic to stun the killer if you're both going to get chased together, and then try to find Metal Sonic again so that you could reciprocate this symbiotic relationship. Well, what did we learn?
I win!